Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for stopping by. Today, as you can see, I am on Dickson Road. I'm outside Funny Girls, well almost outside Funny Girls, and today's video is going to be a Memories of Blackpool video, and it's going to be about the Odeon, because Funny Girls used to be the Odeon. Now when I was a little kid, I went to the Odeon a few times. I remember my nan took me once when I was little and they were showing a couple of old movies, because back in the day, making myself sound old now, back in the day they would always show two actual films, not as in one movie and a short, but two actual full movies. And my nan had taken me to see Bambi. She found out it was on and she took me to see Bambi, and the movie that was on with it, and my nan didn't seem to know this particular movie it was on, it was Mysterious Island. It's been rerun on TV so many times, and the scenes I always remember in that one is the one where they fight that giant chicken and then they kill it and cook it, and it just shows you them all cutting slices of that giant cooked, what looks like a Christmas turkey. And then there was the bit where the couple are in a giant honeycomb and the bee seals them in, and then they light that little fire to get out. And that was the first time I'd been in the Odeon. And then my nan took me again, because they did used to show old movies on a Saturday morning, and she took me in to see The Sound of Music when I was little, and I remember really enjoying that. But those are the only movies I pretty much remember seeing when I was a little kid. And let's have a little read of the plot, shall we? Blackpool Civic Trust Heritage Trail, the former Odeon Cinema, is a Grade 2 listed building. The Blackpool Odeon, the largest on the Oscar Deutsch circuit with 3,088 seats, was officially opened by the Mayor of Blackpool, Alderman W.R. Duckworth MP, on May the 6th, 1939. Principal guests at the opening ceremony were greeted by screen star Conrad Wright, I've probably pronounced that wrong so I do apologise, and entertainer George Formby. The first film shown was Three Smart Girls Grow Up, starring Deanna Durbin. And then a Comanche organ previously installed in the Ritz Cinema Southend-on-Sea was unveiled in 1946 by Al Bollington. Crippled in 1975, the Odeon closed its doors on December the 5th, 1998, and was replaced by a new multiplex cinema bearing the same name on Rigby Road. The building, designed by architect Robert Bullivant of Harry Weedon and Partners, remains as a classic example of the 1930s Art Deco area. Today, well, 2008, that's when this plaque was put there, entrepreneur Ethel Newby operates a Funny Girls experience and the Flamingo nightclub in the premises, and they're donated by Odeon Cinemas. So yeah, that is the Odeon. Now I remember when the Odeon, and I don't remember the actual time, but at some point it became a multi-screen cinema. I think there were 3 screens, but the main one was still massive and the 2 new ones were tiny. Because I remember as a teen I went to the Odeon many times. The most visits to the Odeon was when I was going to see The Empire Strikes Back, because when I was little I was a massive Star Wars fan, and when The Empire Strikes Back came out I've been looking forward to it for many years. Oh, that's the way it seemed back then. And after I'd seen The Empire Strikes Back, the first thing I did was come back the next night to see it again. And then I came back again, and it showed for pretty much a full summer. And I almost came down every single night to see it. My nan had a cafe, and I would work in her cafe, just clearing tables, helping out, not really working because I was young. And some people would give me tips, so the tips, if they were enough for a ticket to the Odeon, I would go down to the Odeon in the evening and watch The Empire Strikes Back. And all the staff got to know me. They just say, "Oh, you again," and smile and wave. And on Saturdays, or on days when I wasn't working at my nan's cafe, I would go in the morning, because the first showing was something like 10:30 in the morning, and I would sit through 3 showings. And when The Empire Strikes Back was on there, they were showing a short with it, and it was called Dark Angel, and it was like this abstract thing with 2 knights fighting, and it was about half an hour long. So I'd go to the cinema, watch the trailers, watch the adverts, then watch this little half-hour short called Dark Angel, and then I'd watch more trailers, more adverts, and the actual movie, The Empire Strikes Back, would start. And then watch that movie, then the cinema would empty, and I would just wait outside the screen, because where those windows are there, that was like an area where you could wait. There were just loads of comfy seats there, it was nice and airy, there was loads of room, so I would just sit in there and basically wait for the next showing to start. And they all knew I was waiting. I mean, you probably weren't strictly allowed to do that, but I wasn't hiding away or anything. They all could see me waiting, and they all knew I was waiting, and they all knew me, and not one person ever said, "Oi, get out of here." And the cinema was never full, because The Empire Strikes Back was filmed in screen 1, or was shown in screen 1, not filmed in screen 1 obviously. It was shown in screen 1, which was massive, and yeah, it was never full, so there was always space. And if I'd gone there in the morning to watch all 3 showings, I always took a flask of coffee and a big bag of butties, and sometimes I would get home for like 10:30 at night. And my mum would go, "Have you gone to see that film again?" I sat through it 3 times, and I'd be like, "Yeah." And she'd go, "Oh, you balmy you are," and she'd kind of shake her head. But I loved the film so much, and it got to the point where I could quote every single line. And interesting story, when it was the last week of the showing, I went to one of the staff that I knew, one of the Jurettes, and I asked to see the manager. In a perfectly nice way, not in a Karen way, so don't worry. And this big guy came out with a smile on his face, and he was like, "Hello, what can I do for you?" And I said, "What do you do with all the pictures of the walls, the stills, when the movie moves on?" And he said, "Oh, they go to different promoters, they go to different people. Some of them are signed, some of them are auctioned off." And I said, "If you've got any spare, can I have them?" And he smiled at me, and he was like, "Yeah, sure." He said, "Let me take your name and address." So he took my name, took my address, and he wrote "Stills of The Empire Strikes Back." And I hoped I would get something, but I didn't think that I would, really. But a few weeks later, these massive tubes came to my house, and they were stills of The Empire Strikes Back. There was 3. There was one big one with pictures of Luke and Leia and Han Solo on. There was one with Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers on, and there was one with C-3PO and R2-D2 on. And I kept them for quite a lot of years, but they got lost in transit at some point in my life, and I don't know what happened to them, which is kind of sad. Because when I was in my late teens, 18, 19, I moved from Blackpool to London for a few years, and I think at some point I may have just given them away or something, or somebody, or left them in my house, my mum's house, and they either got binned or given away or taken, I don't know. But yeah, they were just gone. But yeah, the manager of the Odeon gave me the stills, and I think if I had them now, they'd be worth a pretty penny. I'm not saying they'd be worth thousands or anything, but they'd definitely be worth a few quid. although I probably wouldn't want to sell them. But I do have, going off on a bit of a tangent here, I do have a poster from one of the first Wolverine movies a year back, and this poster, it must be about 6 feet high and about 4 feet across. It's huge, and it's rolled up and it's somewhere in my house, so yeah, I still have that. But on another tangent, when I lived in London, I worked on the London Underground as a station supervisor for a few years, and they always used to put movie posters up on the tunnels of the trains and stuff and in the stations, and I used to make the guys brews and bring them biscuits when they were putting posters up, and I said, if you've got any spare posters, can you give me any? And they were like, yeah, sure. And they gave me loads. They gave me one for John Carpenter film, Prince of Darkness. I specifically remember getting that picture because it was creepy. But one of the ones this guy gave me, it was a Michael Jackson one. And it came in, I think, 8 or 9 pieces. Or 12 pieces. Because the whole picture itself, when they were all put together like a poster, would have been about 12 foot high. It was designed to go on a big thing, and he said that it wouldn't fit where he was going to put it, because he was going to put it in one of the old stations on the platform, but he said the way the ceiling curved, and he said it's too big. He said because when the people gave him this picture to put up, they didn't think of the fact that it was a poster made with several pictures, so it would be too big for the area. So anyway, he went, do you want it? So I went, yeah, sure. So he gave it me, and it was all brand new. And I kept it for a long while. And I had a friend a few years later, and she was pretty much obsessed with Michael Jackson. I think it was from Bad, but I could be wrong. She was pretty much obsessed with Michael Jackson. She was like, oh my God, I forgot that. I'm so jealous. I would give anything for that. That's amazing. What an amazing thing to own. And I was just like, yeah, you can have it if you want it. And I just handed it over, and she was like, oh my gosh, are you sure, are you sure, are you sure, can I give you something from it, can I? And I was like, no, we're cool, it's fine, just take it, I don't want it. Because this particular friend was really good to me. She gave me bits of clothes and toys and stuff for my daughter and things like that, and she gave me a pram set from a pram when I was skint, so she was always kind to me, so I was totally happy to give her that. But I don't really remember what where most of the posters went. I think I sold a few of them, but a lot of them I ended up giving them away, because like if I have somebody who's a friend or I know and they're a massive fan of something, like a certain movie or a certain person, if I had that poster, I was kind of happy to give it to them, because just to look at their faces when they would get something like that. So a lot of the stuff I had I just gave away. And I've gone off like a million tangents there, because this was originally a video supposedly about the Odeon. But yeah, the Odeon was great. Got so many memories from there. I may do another Odeon video. I have a few more tales to tell. But in the meantime, I'm going to close this video now. So I'm just going to thank everybody for watching. And please drop me a like and a comment. And maybe even just, you know, poke that subscribe button. I am trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by Christmas. And I shall see you all in the next video. Goodbye.